What if the déjà vu you experienced this morning wasn't just a glitch in your memory, but a message from another version of you? In a universe of infinite possibilities, your parallel self might be reaching out, trying to guide you towards a pivotal decision. As you watch this video, pay close attention to the signs we'll reveal. You might realize that the strange coincidences in your life aren't random at all, but breadcrumbs leading you to a profound awakening. Sophia's eyes snapped open, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The darkness of her bedroom felt foreign, as if she'd been plucked from another world and dropped back into her own. As her racing pulse began to slow, fragments of her dream flickered through her mind, vivid and impossibly real. In this dream, Sophia wasn't just observing. She was living a completely different life. She saw herself walking confidently through the streets of a bustling city she'd never visited, dressed in clothes she didn't own. The air hummed with an energy she couldn't quite explain, and everything seemed slightly off. The colors were more vibrant, the sounds clearer, as if her senses had been heightened. What struck Sophia most was the overwhelming sense of purpose she felt in this alternate life. She recalled sitting in a sleek office, fingers flying across a keyboard as she worked on something important, something that could change the world. But what was it? The details slipped away like water through her fingers, leaving only the ghost of that powerful emotion behind. As Sophia lay in bed, trying to make sense of what she'd experienced, her mind wandered to something she'd read about quantum theory and parallel realities. What if this wasn't just a dream, but a glimpse into another version of herself? The idea sent a shiver down her spine. Quantum physicists have long theorized about the existence of parallel universes, realities that exist alongside our own, separated by the thinnest of veils. In these alternate worlds, different versions of ourselves make different choices, leading to vastly different outcomes. Could Sophia's dream be more than just her subconscious mind at play? The theory of quantum superposition suggests that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until they're observed. What if our consciousness works in a similar way? What if, in moments of deep sleep or meditation, we're able to tap into these other states of being, these other versions of ourselves? Sophia's mind raced with possibilities. What if the version of herself she'd seen in the dream had made a crucial decision differently? What if that Sophia had chosen a path that led to a life of greater purpose and fulfillment? And if that were true, what did it mean for her own choices and potential? As the first rays of sunlight began to peek through her curtains, Sophia shook her head, trying to dispel these fanciful thoughts. It was just a dream, she told herself firmly, pushing back the covers and swinging her legs out of bed. An unusually vivid one, but still just a dream. Yet as she went about her morning routine, she couldn't shake the lingering sense of that other life. The confidence, the purpose, the feeling that she was meant for something more. It clung to her like a perfume, subtly influencing her thoughts and actions. Sophia didn't realize it yet. But this dream was just the beginning. The boundary between her world and that other reality had been breached, and the universe was about to reveal secrets beyond her wildest imagination. As she left her apartment that morning, stepping into the familiar streets of her own city, she had no idea that her journey of awakening had already begun. The signs were there, waiting to be discovered, if only she knew where to look. Have you ever experienced a moment when the fabric of reality seems to ripple, revealing glimpses of something beyond our understanding? For Sophia, that moment was about to arrive in the form of a simple, yet persistent numerical pattern. The question is, would she recognize its significance or dismiss it as mere coincidence? As Sophia went about her day, she began to notice something peculiar. The numbers 11 verse 11 seemed to be appearing everywhere she looked. At first, it was just a glance at her phone to check the time. Then, she spotted it on a digital billboard during her commute. Later, it was the total on her lunch receipt. Each time, she brushed it off as a quirk of chance, a random alignment of digits in the vast sea of numbers that surrounded her daily life. But as the days passed, the frequency of these sightings became impossible to ignore. Sophia found herself involuntarily drawn to clocks and displays at precisely 11:11, as if some unseen force was guiding her attention. The numbers began to haunt her, appearing in the most unexpected places. Page numbers in books, addresses on buildings, Even the number of likes on a social media post. What if these numbers weren't just a statistical anomaly, but a message from beyond? In the realm of numerology and spirituality, 1111 is often considered a powerful symbol of awakening and alignment with one's higher self. Some believe it to be a sign that parallel realities are momentarily synchronizing, allowing messages to slip through the veil between worlds. That Sophia's mind raced with possibilities. Could this be connected to her vivid dream of another life? Was her parallel self trying to communicate, using the universal language of mathematics to bridge the gap between their realities? The human brain is wired to seek patterns, to make sense of the chaos that surrounds us. It's a survival mechanism, an evolutionary trait that has allowed us to predict dangers and identify opportunities. But could this same tendency be leading Sophia astray, causing her to see meaning where there was none? As she delved deeper into the phenomenon, Sophia learned about the concept of confirmation bias, our tendency to notice and remember information that confirms our existing beliefs while overlooking contradictory evidence. Was she simply paying more attention to 1111 because she was looking for it, ignoring all the other numbers that crossed her path? Yet, the persistence of these sightings was hard to dismiss. Each time the numbers appeared, Sophia felt a jolt of recognition, a sense that she was on the verge of understanding something profound. It was as if the universe itself was trying to get her attention, using these digital signposts to guide her towards a greater truth. What if these numbers were more than just coincidence? What if they were breadcrumbs left by her parallel self, guiding her towards a pivotal decision or realization? The thought both thrilled and terrified Sophia. If this was true, what other signs might she have been missing? As the sun set on another day filled with mysterious numerical encounters, Sophia found herself standing at a crossroads. Should she dismiss these experiences as the product of an overactive imagination, or embrace them as the first steps on a journey of awakening? Little did she know, the repeated numbers were just the beginning. The universe had much more in store for Sophia, and each sign would bring her closer to unraveling the mystery of her connection to a parallel reality. As she drifted off to sleep that night, her mind swirling with questions, she couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary was about to unfold. Sophia's eyes fluttered open the next morning. She had no idea that reality was about to play an even stranger trick on her senses. What if a chance encounter could make you question everything you thought you knew about memory and existence? As Sophia hurried down the bustling city street, her mind still swirling with thoughts of repeated numbers and vivid dreams, fate decided to throw another curveball her way. In a moment of distraction, she collided with a stranger, the impact sending her stumbling backward. "I'm so sorry," a deep voice apologized, strong hands steadying her shoulders. Sophia looked up, ready to brush off the incident, when her breath caught in her throat. The man before her was a stranger, and yet, there was something about him, something she couldn't quite place. His eyes, a striking shade of green, seemed to hold a flicker of recognition. The curve of his jawline, the way he tilted his head slightly to the left, it all felt impossibly familiar. "Do I know you?" Sophia found herself asking, her voice barely above a whisper. The man furrowed his brow, studying her face intently. "I don't think so," he replied slowly, "but I can't shake the feeling that we've met before." In that moment, Sophia was hit with a wave of déjà vu so intense it made her dizzy. Images flashed through her mind. This man, laughing at a shared joke, handing her a steaming cup of coffee, his silhouette framed by a sunset she'd never seen. But how could she have memories of moments that had never happened? Scientists have long grappled with the phenomenon of déjà vu, that eerie sensation of having already experienced a present situation. Some researchers propose that it could be linked to a temporary glitch in the brain's memory processing, causing current experiences to be mistakenly interpreted as memories. But what if there was more to it? As Sophia stood there, lost in the familiarity of a stranger's face, she couldn't help but wonder. Could this man somehow be connected to the parallel life she'd glimpsed in her dream? What if déjà vu wasn't just a neural misfire, but a bridge between realities? The bustling crowd pushed around them, the world continuing its frantic pace while Sophia felt suspended in time. She wanted to ask the man 1,000 questions. Where was he from? What did he do? Had he experienced any strange dreams or coincidences lately? But before she could form the words, a group of tourists surged between them, momentarily breaking their connection. When the crowd cleared, the man was gone, swallowed up by the sea of faces and the rhythm of the city. Sophia spun around, searching desperately for a glimpse of him. But it was futile. He had vanished as quickly and mysteriously as he had appeared, leaving her with nothing but a head full of questions and a heart pounding with possibility. That as she continued her journey, Sophia's mind raced. The encounter had lasted mere seconds, yet it felt more real, more significant than so many of her everyday interactions. Was her brain playing tricks on her, creating false connections in its constant search for patterns and meaning? Or was there truly something more at play? The line between memory and imagination, between this reality and another, seemed to be blurring with each passing day. Sophia couldn't shake the feeling that she was on the verge of uncovering something profound, a truth that would shake the very foundations of her understanding of the world. As she reached her destination, Sophia made a silent promise to herself. She would get to the bottom of these strange occurrences, no matter where the journey might lead her. Little did she know, the universe had only begun to reveal its secrets, and the familiar stranger was just one piece of a much larger puzzle waiting to be solved. Have you ever found an object in your home that you're certain doesn't belong to you? For most, it's a fleeting curiosity. For Sophia, it was about to become the thread that unraveled everything she thought she knew about reality. As the first rays of sunlight crept through her curtains, Sophia's eyes fell upon something that shouldn't have been there. A small, intricate key lay on her nightstand, its presence defying all logic. She blinked, rubbed her eyes, and looked again. The key remained, its polished surface gleaming in the morning light. Sophia sat up, her heart racing. She was absolutely certain she had never seen this key before. It wasn't part of her key ring, and she didn't own any decorative keys. Yet as she picked it up, feeling its weight in her palm, an inexplicable sense of familiarity washed over her. The intricate pattern etched into its surface seemed to whisper of locked doors and hidden treasures. What if this key wasn't just misplaced, but displaced? The thought sent a shiver down Sophia's spine. She recalled her vivid dreams of an alternate life, the repeated numbers that seemed to follow her, and the encounter with the familiar stranger. Could this key be another piece of the cosmic puzzle she was unwittingly assembling? Quantum physics introduces the mind-bending concept of superposition, suggesting that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed. What if objects, too, could exist in a state of potentiality across parallel dimensions? Sophia's mind raced with possibilities. Could this key have somehow slipped through the cracks between realities, manifesting in her world as a tangible link to her parallel self? As she turned the key over in her hands, Sophia felt a surge of anticipation. What could this key unlock? A door to another reality? A chest containing secrets of the universe? Or perhaps something more mundane, but equally significant in her parallel life? The rational part of Sophia's mind urged her to dismiss these fantastic notions. Surely there must be a logical explanation for the key's appearance. Perhaps she had absent-mindedly picked it up somewhere and forgotten about it. Or maybe a friend had left it behind during a visit, but deep down, Sophia knew this was different. The key radiated an energy she couldn't explain, as if it were charged with the potential of infinite possibilities. It felt important, like a cosmic breadcrumb left by the universe itself, guiding her towards some greater truth. That as she got ready for her day, Sophia couldn't bring herself to leave the key behind. She slipped it into her pocket, its weight a constant reminder of the mystery she now carried with her. With each step, she felt as if she were walking on the edge of two worlds, the boundary between realities growing thinner by the moment. Little did Sophia know, this seemingly insignificant object would soon play a crucial role in her journey of awakening. The key was more than just metal and teeth. It was a catalyst, set to unlock doors both literal and metaphorical. That as she left her apartment, stepping into a world that suddenly felt both familiar and strange, Sophia couldn't shake the feeling that she was on the verge of something monumental. The key in her pocket was a constant reminder that reality might be far more fluid and interconnected than she had ever imagined. What other signs and symbols might be hiding in plain sight, waiting for her to notice them? And more importantly, where would this mysterious key lead her? As Sophia emerged into the flow of the morning commute, she knew one thing for certain. Her perception of the world would never be the same again. Sophia's dreams began to take on a life of their own, becoming more frequent and vivid with each passing night. What started as fleeting glimpses into another existence now felt like full-fledged adventures in a parallel world. As she drifted off to sleep each evening, a mix of anticipation and trepidation filled her heart. What wonders awaited her in this alternate reality? In her dreams, Sophia found herself living a life both familiar and foreign. She walked the streets of a city that pulsed with an energy she'd never experienced before. The air shimmered with possibility, and every interaction seemed charged with meaning. In this world, Sophia was a renowned scientist, her work on the cusp of a breakthrough that could change humanity's understanding of consciousness itself. The contrast between her dream life and waking reality was stark. By day, Sophia worked a mundane office job, her potential seemingly untapped. But in her dreams, she stood before packed lecture halls, explaining complex theories with confidence and passion. She felt alive, purposeful, fulfilled in a way she'd never known in her waking hours. As the dreams intensified, the line between sleep and wakefulness began to blur. Sophia found herself carrying emotions and insights from her dream world into her daily life. She'd wake with tears in her eyes, mourning the loss of a relationship she'd never actually experienced. Or she'd find herself reaching for scientific equipment that didn't exist in her waking reality. Muscle memory from experiments conducted only in her dreams. Research suggests that such vivid, recurring dreams might be more than just the brain's nightly data processing. Some experts propose that dreams could be a window into parallel realities, a way for our consciousness to explore paths not taken in our waking life. Could Sophia's dreams be a glimpse into the life of her parallel self? As the dreams became more immersive, Sophia began to question her grip on reality. Was she losing touch with her true self, becoming too invested in a world that didn't truly exist? Or was she finally awakening to her full potential, guided by visions of what could be? In one particularly vivid dream, Sophia found herself in a cutting-edge laboratory, surrounded by equipment she somehow knew how to use. She was on the verge of a monumental discovery, one that would bridge the gap between science and spirituality. As she reached for the final piece of the puzzle, a familiar voice echoed in her mind. "Remember this moment. It's the key to everything." Sophia woke with a start, her heart racing and mind reeling. The voice had been her own, yet not quite. It carried a wisdom and assurance she didn't recognize. In that moment, she knew she couldn't ignore these experiences any longer. With trembling hands, Sophia reached for a notebook and began to write. Every detail, every emotion, every fleeting insight, she poured it all onto the pages. This dream journal would become her anchor, a way to make sense of the incredible journey unfolding within her subconscious mind. Little did Sophia know, her decision to document her dreams was the first step towards something far greater than she could imagine. As she closed the journal and prepared for another day in her familiar world, she couldn't shake the feeling that the boundaries of her reality were about to be pushed even further. The dreams that had once been confined to her sleeping hours were preparing to spill into her waking life, forever altering her understanding of what was possible. Have you ever felt an inexplicable connection to another version of yourself? Sophia's journey into the depths of quantum entanglement might just explain why some of us experience déjà vu, prophetic dreams, or an uncanny sense of alternative lives. But be warned, once you see the threads that connect parallel realities, you can never unsee them. As Sophia scrolled through her social media feed, her finger paused on an article that seemed to leap off the screen. Quantum entanglement, the hidden threads of reality, the headline proclaimed. Something stirred within her, a recognition that this wasn't just another piece of scientific jargon, but perhaps the key to understanding her recent otherworldly experiences. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, Sophia began to read. The article explained quantum entanglement in terms that resonated deeply with her. Imagine two particles, separated by vast distances, yet inexplicably linked. When you observe one, you instantly know the state of the other, as if they were two sides of the same coin, existing in perfect synchronicity across space and time that as she absorbed this information, Sophia's mind raced. Could this be the scientific explanation for her vivid dreams of another life? What if her consciousness was somehow entangled with that of her parallel self, allowing her to glimpse moments from an alternate reality? The article went on to discuss expert opinions on the potential applications of quantum entanglement. Some scientists believe it could revolutionize communication, allowing for instantaneous transfer of information across any distance. Others speculate about its role in quantum computing, enabling calculations of mind-boggling complexity, but it was the final section of the article that truly captured Sophia's imagination. What if quantum entanglement extended beyond particles to consciousness itself? The idea that energy and thought are not bound by the limitations of the physical world suddenly seemed less like science fiction and more like a tantalizing possibility. Sophia's heart raced as she considered the implications. If particles could be linked across vast distances, couldn't the same principle apply to consciousness? The boundaries of her understanding began to expand, encompassing new possibilities she had never before considered. As she delved deeper into the concept, Sophia stumbled upon a quote from a renowned physicist. If consciousness acts like a frequency that can tune into parallel versions of ourselves, it implies that when we are particularly in tune, through intuition, dreams, or synchronicity, we might be receiving a form of communication from a version of ourselves that exists in a different dimension. The word sent a shiver down her spine. Wasn't this exactly what she had been experiencing? The vivid dreams, the sense of déjà vu, the strange coincidences. Could they all be attempts at communication from her parallel self? Sophia's mind whirled with possibilities. What if her thoughts, energy, and consciousness were free to traverse different dimensions, connecting with parallel versions of herself and exchanging information across the multiverse? The idea was both thrilling and terrifying. As she set her phone down, Sophia felt as though she was seeing the world through new eyes. The quantum entanglement theory had provided a framework for understanding her experiences, a scientific basis for what she had dismissed as impossible flights of fancy. But even as excitement coursed through her veins, Sophia knew that theories alone weren't enough. She needed more, tangible proof, a way to consciously harness this connection she now believed existed. The quantum entanglement article had opened a door in her mind, but stepping through it would require more than just intellectual understanding. As night fell and Sophia prepared for bed, she couldn't help but wonder what new insights her dreams might bring. Would she be able to communicate more clearly with her parallel self, now that she had a better understanding of the mechanics behind their connection? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain: Sophia's perception of reality would never be the same again. As Sophia drifted off to sleep, she had no idea that her waking life was about to become stranger than her dreams. What if the universe was trying to tell her something, using the very fabric of reality as its messenger? It began subtly at first. Sophia would catch glimpses of faces in crowds that seemed eerily familiar, only to realize they were people she had encountered in her vivid dreams of another life. She'd overhear snippets of conversations that echoed discussions she'd had in that parallel world. Even the places she visited in her day-to-day life began to take on an uncanny resemblance to locations from her nocturnal adventures. At first, Sophia tried to brush these occurrences off as mere coincidence. But as the days passed, the frequency and intensity of these synchronicities became impossible to ignore. It was as if the boundary between her dreams and reality had become porous, allowing elements from one world to seep into the other. One afternoon, while grabbing coffee at her usual cafe, Sophia nearly dropped her cup when she saw a man sitting at a corner table. He was the spitting image of a colleague from her dream life. Right down to the peculiar way he furrowed his brow as he concentrated on his laptop. The shock of recognition was so strong that Sophia found herself walking towards him before she could stop herself. But as she approached, the man looked up, and the illusion shattered. He was a stranger after all, albeit one with an uncanny resemblance to her dream companion. These experiences left Sophia feeling both exhilarated and unsettled. She couldn't shake the feeling that these synchronicities were more than just random chance. But what did they mean? Were they messages from her parallel self, trying to communicate across the boundaries of reality? As Sophia delved deeper into understanding these occurrences, she stumbled upon the work of Carl Jung and his concept of synchronicity. Jung described synchronicity as meaningful coincidences that occur with no causal relationship, yet seem to be meaningfully related. He believed these events could signify a connection between the inner psychological state and the external world, suggesting that the universe communicates with us through these coincidences. This idea resonated deeply with Sophia. Could it be that the universe was indeed trying to tell her something? That these synchronicities were breadcrumbs leading her towards a greater truth about her existence and her connection to her parallel self? The human brain, Sophia learned, is wired to seek patterns and make connections, even in random data. This tendency can lead to the perception of coincidences as significant, as our minds seek to create meaning from the information we encounter. But Sophia couldn't help feeling that what she was experiencing went beyond mere pattern recognition. The synchronicities in her life felt charged with a deeper significance, as if they were pieces of a cosmic puzzle she was meant to solve. As the synchronicities continued to pile up, Sophia made a decision. Instead of dismissing these experiences or allowing them to overwhelm her, she would embrace them. She began keeping a journal, meticulously documenting each instance of synchronicity, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. With each entry, she felt as if she were mapping out the hidden connections between her world and the one she visited in her dreams. Little did Sophia know, her decision to pay closer attention to these signs was about to lead her to a revelation that would shake the very foundations of her understanding of reality. The universe, it seemed, had much more in store for her than she could possibly imagine. As she closed her journal that night, a shiver of anticipation ran through her. What new wonders would tomorrow bring? And how much closer would they bring her to unraveling the mystery of her connection to her parallel self? Imagine for a moment that the key to unlocking the mysteries of parallel realities lies not in complex quantum experiments, but within the depths of your own mind. What if I told you that Sophia's journey into meditation would reveal more than just inner peace, but a gateway to another version of herself? As the synchronicities in her life continued to mount, Sophia found herself drawn to the ancient practice of meditation. At first, it seemed an impossible task. Her mind, buzzing with theories and questions, resisted every attempt to find stillness. But Sophia persevered, carving out time each day to sit in silence, focusing on her breath and letting her thoughts drift by like clouds in the sky. Days turned to weeks, and slowly, Sophia began to notice a shift. The chaos in her mind began to settle, like sediment sinking to the bottom of a still pond. But this wasn't just about finding calm. With each session, Sophia felt as if she were peeling back layers of reality, glimpsing something vast and ineffable just beyond her perception. Then came the breakthrough. During one particularly deep meditation, Sophia experienced a sensation unlike anything she had ever known. It was as if her consciousness had suddenly expanded, breaking free from the confines of her physical body. The boundaries of herself seemed to dissolve, merging with something greater, more vast than she could comprehend. In this expanded state, Sophia's awareness stretched beyond the limits of her ordinary perception. Colors became more vivid, sounds more crisp, as if she were experiencing reality in high definition. But it wasn't just her senses that were heightened. She felt a profound sense of connection to everything around her, as if the entire universe were a single, interconnected web of energy and consciousness. Research has shown that deep meditation can significantly alter brain activity, particularly in areas associated with self-awareness and emotional regulation. A study published in the journal Frontiers in Human Neuroscience found that long-term meditation practitioners exhibit increased gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex, linked to higher cognitive functions. But what Sophia was experiencing went beyond mere brain chemistry. As she floated in this sea of expanded awareness, Sophia suddenly felt a presence. It was familiar, yet different, like looking in a mirror and seeing a slightly altered reflection. With a jolt of recognition, she realized she was glimpsing her parallel self, the version of Sophia she had been dreaming about. The other Sophia was clearer now than she had ever been in dreams. Sophia could see the confidence in her posture, the glint of purpose in her eyes. This was the version of herself who had made different choices, who had pursued her passion for science without hesitation. But there was something else, too, a sense of urgency, As if this other Sophia was trying to communicate something of vital importance, Sophia strained to understand, reaching out with her mind to bridge the gap between realities. But the connection was tenuous, like trying to tune into a faint radio signal. Just as she felt she was on the verge of breakthrough, the vision began to fade, slipping away like mist in the morning sun. But as Sophia slowly returned to her ordinary state of consciousness, she was left with a mix of exhilaration and frustration. She had made contact, however briefly, with her parallel self. But the message, if there was one, remained elusive. The truth was tantalizingly close, yet still just out of reach. This experience left Sophia with more questions than answers. What was her parallel self trying to tell her? And how could she strengthen this connection, making it more stable and clear? As she opened her eyes, returning fully to her familiar reality, Sophia knew one thing for certain. Her journey had only just begun, and the path ahead promised to be more extraordinary than she could have ever imagined. Mirrors have long been windows to the soul, portals to other realms and the imagination of countless cultures. But what if they truly were gateways to alternate realities? For Sophia, this mystical concept was about to become startlingly real. As she stood before her bathroom mirror one ordinary morning, something extraordinary happened. Sophia's reflection seemed to shift, like ripples on a pond disturbing a once clear image. For a split second, she saw not herself, but another Sophia staring back at her. This other self bore a striking resemblance, yet subtle differences were apparent. Her eyes held a wisdom beyond Sophia's years, and her posture exuded a confidence Sophia had only dreamed of possessing. The moment stretched, defying the laws of time and space. Sophia's heart raced as she realized this wasn't a trick of the light or a symptom of her overactive imagination. The other Sophia was trying to communicate, her lips moving in silent urgency. But what was she saying? What vital message was she attempting to convey across the boundaries of reality? Throughout history, mirrors have held a special place in human consciousness. In ancient Egypt, they were symbols of truth and self-reflection. Chinese folklore speaks of mirrors as portals to the spirit world, capable of trapping malevolent entities. Even Lewis Carroll's Alice stepped through the looking glass into a world of wonder and impossibility. What if these myths and stories held a kernel of truth? What if mirrors truly were thin spots in the fabric of reality, places where parallel worlds could touch and communicate? Some theories suggest that mirrors, with their perfect reflective surfaces, might act as conduits for quantum entanglement. Could the photons bouncing off Sophia's face be entangling with those of her parallel self, creating a momentary bridge between realities? The possibility was as thrilling as it was terrifying. As Sophia stared into the eyes of her other self, she felt a surge of emotions that were not entirely her own. Determination, urgency, and a profound sense of purpose washed over her. It was as if the other Sophia was trying to impart not just a message, but a mission. But what could be so important that it would drive her parallel self to breach the barriers between worlds? Just as Sophia felt she was on the verge of understanding, the vision began to fade. The other Sophia's face became blurry, like a radio signal losing strength. Sophia reached out, her fingers touching the cool surface of the mirror, desperate to maintain the connection. But it was too late. In the blink of an eye, she was once again staring at her own familiar reflection. The bathroom seemed unnaturally quiet in the aftermath of this extraordinary event. Sophia's mind reeled, trying to process what she had just experienced. She felt shaken to her core, yet simultaneously filled with a newfound determination. This wasn't just a random occurrence or a figment of her imagination. It was a call to action, a sign that her journey into the mysteries of parallel realities was far from over. As Sophia turned away from the mirror, her resolve solidified. She knew, with a certainty that defied logic, that she must find a way to make contact again. The other Sophia had something vital to tell her, something that could potentially change everything. The mirror had shown her a glimpse of what was possible, and now it was up to her to find the key to unlocking this interdimensional communication. With each step away from the mirror, Sophia's determination grew. She would unravel this mystery, no matter where it led her. The boundaries between realities had been breached once. Surely there was a way to do it again. As she left the bathroom, Sophia cast one last glance at the mirror. For a moment, she thought she saw a flicker of movement, a flash of that other self. But then it was gone, leaving her alone with her thoughts and the monumental task that lay ahead. As the mirror's surface settled into normalcy, Sophia's mind raced with possibilities. If parallel versions of ourselves exist, how could we possibly detect them? The answer, she realized, might lie in the strangest corner of physics, a place where particles behave like waves, and observation itself shapes reality. Sophia was about to step into the quantum unknown armed with her newfound knowledge of quantum entanglement and the double-slit experiment. Sophia set out to design her own quantum experiment. Her goal was ambitious yet clear: to prove the existence of her parallel self through the behavior of subatomic particles. What if the very fabric of reality could be used as a cosmic telephone line between dimensions? Sophia's setup was deceptively simple. Using a laser, a thin metal plate with 2 slits, and a detector screen, she recreated the classic double-slit experiment in her makeshift lab. But there was a twist. Sophia hypothesized that if her parallel self was indeed trying to make contact, their consciousness might influence the behavior of the particles, creating a detectable pattern. As she fired up the laser, Sophia's heart raced with anticipation. The familiar interference pattern began to form on the screen, a series of light and dark bands created by the wave-like nature of particles passing through both slits simultaneously. But then, something extraordinary happened. The pattern began to shift, subtly at first. Then more dramatically, Sophia watched in awe as the interference pattern morphed into something she had never seen before. It was as if an unseen hand was guiding the particles, creating a complex dance of light and shadow. Could this be the influence of her parallel self, reaching across the boundaries of reality to make her presence known? The implications of what Sophia was witnessing were staggering. The double-slit experiment had long been a cornerstone of quantum mechanics, demonstrating the wave-particle duality of matter and the role of observation in shaping reality. But what Sophia was seeing went beyond even these mind-bending concepts. Experts have long debated the role of consciousness in quantum outcomes. Some theories suggest that our thoughts and intentions can influence the behavior of particles at a fundamental level. Could Sophia's experiment be providing tangible evidence of this connection? And if so, what did it mean for our understanding of reality and the nature of consciousness itself? As the experiment continued, Sophia meticulously recorded every detail. The data she collected painted a picture that was both exciting and perplexing. There was clear evidence of an external influence on the particles, something that couldn't be explained by random chance or equipment malfunction. But what exactly was causing this influence? Sophia's mind whirled with possibilities. Was she truly communicating with her parallel self through the quantum realm? Or was there another explanation? Something even more extraordinary that she hadn't considered? The boundary between science and the mystical seemed to blur with each passing moment. As she analyzed the results, Sophia felt a mix of exhilaration and frustration. She had glimpsed something profound, a tantalizing hint of the connection she sought. But it wasn't enough. The data suggested an external influence, yes, but it didn't provide concrete proof of her parallel self's existence. Sophia knew she needed more. More data, more experiments, more evidence to build a case that would stand up to scientific scrutiny. But how could she push further into this uncharted territory? What other methods could she employ to bridge the gap between realities? As she powered down her equipment, Sophia's resolve hardened. This experiment was just the beginning. She had opened a door to the quantum realm, and now she was determined to step through it, no matter where it might lead her. The universe, it seemed, had much more to reveal, and Sophia was ready to uncover its deepest secrets. Sophia's quantum experiments had opened a door, but what awaited her on the other side was beyond anything she could have imagined. As she drifted off to sleep that night, little did she know that her consciousness was about to embark on a journey that would challenge the very fabric of reality. What if the key to unlocking the mysteries of parallel universes lay not in her waking mind, but in the depths of her dreams? As Sophia's eyes closed, the world around her began to shift and blur. Colors swirled and merged, forming a landscape unlike anything she had ever seen. The dreamscape that materialized was a fusion of the familiar and the fantastical. Towering structures of impossible geometry stretched towards a sky that shimmered with auroras of consciousness. Beneath her feet, the ground pulsed with an energy that seemed to resonate with her very being. That in this surreal realm, Sophia felt a presence. It was familiar, yet different, like looking into a mirror and seeing a slightly altered reflection. As she turned, her breath caught in her throat. There, standing before her, was her parallel self. The other Sophia radiated confidence and purpose, her eyes holding wisdom that seemed to span lifetimes. The encounter was both exhilarating and unsettling. Sophia felt a rush of emotions: excitement, curiosity, and a hint of fear. Here, finally, was the source of her vivid dreams and strange synchronicities. But as she tried to speak, she found that words seemed inadequate in this realm of pure thought and emotion. Their attempt at communication was a dance of images and feelings, each struggling to convey complex ideas without the benefit of language. Fragments of memories, both shared and divergent, flashed between them like lightning. Sophia glimpsed moments from her parallel self's life, achievements, struggles, and pivotal decisions that had shaped a vastly different path. Research suggests that shared or mutual dreaming, while rare, may be possible. Some studies propose that individuals with strong emotional connections might be able to influence each other's dream content, or even meet in a shared dream space. What if this phenomenon extended beyond our own reality, allowing for communication across parallel universes? As Sophia and her parallel self struggled to find common ground, the dreamscape around them shifted and changed, reflecting the ebb and flow of their interaction. Symbols and metaphors took physical form, creating a visual language that transcended the limitations of words. A bridge appeared, spanning a chasm that seemed to represent the divide between their realities. What crucial information was Sophia's parallel self trying to convey? The air crackled with urgency, as if the fate of both their worlds hung in the balance. Sophia strained to understand, reaching out with her mind to grasp the elusive message that danced just beyond her comprehension. Suddenly, a vivid scene unfolded before them. Sophia watched as her parallel self stood at a crossroads, facing a decision that would alter the course of her life. The moment was charged with potential, the air thick with the weight of choice. In that instant, Sophia understood that this was the pivotal moment where their paths had diverged. As quickly as it had appeared, the vision began to fade. The dreamscape dissolved around them, reality reasserting itself. Sophia felt herself being pulled back to consciousness, questions burning in her mind. What was the significance of that crucial decision? How had it shaped the lives of both Sophias? And what implications did it hold for their shared future? As Sophia's eyes fluttered open, the details of the dream began to slip away like water through her fingers. But the emotions lingered, a sense of connection, of purpose, and of a truth just beyond her grasp. She knew that this dream encounter was just the beginning. The true significance of what she had witnessed remained unclear, but one thing was certain: her journey into the mysteries of parallel realities was far from over. As the fog of her dream encounter lifted, Sophia found herself grappling with a startling realization. What if the tiniest decision she made today could completely alter the course of her life, or even the fate of the world? The weight of this knowledge was both exhilarating and terrifying. As Sophia's mind raced as she traced the divergence point between her life and that of her parallel self. It wasn't some grand, earth-shattering moment. Instead, it was a seemingly inconsequential choice, a split-second decision to take a different route to work one morning. This simple act had set in motion a chain of events that led her parallel self down a vastly different path. The butterfly effect, a concept born from chaos theory, suddenly took on a profound new meaning for Sophia. She understood now that even the smallest action could ripple outward, creating waves of change that grew larger and more significant over time. In the realm of parallel universes, these ripples didn't just affect one reality. They spawned entirely new ones. That Sophia's thoughts turned to historical near misses that could have changed everything. What if the assassination attempt on Hitler in 1944 had succeeded? How might the world be different if John F. Kennedy had taken a different route through Dallas on that fateful day in 1963? These pivotal moments in history hung by the thinnest of threads, each one a potential branching point for countless parallel realities. But it wasn't just world-changing events that held this power. Sophia realized that every choice she made, no matter how small, could be the butterfly's wings that set off a storm of change. The coffee shop she chose each morning, the words she spoke to a stranger, even the thoughts she entertained, all of these had the potential to alter the course of her life in ways she could never predict. As this understanding sank in, Sophia felt the weight of every decision pressing down on her. How could she possibly navigate a world where each choice carried such monumental significance? The possibilities were endless, branching out before her like an infinite web of potential realities. Yet, as overwhelming as this realization was, it also filled Sophia with a sense of wonder and appreciation for her current path. She understood now that her life, with all its ups and downs, was the result of countless small decisions that had led her to this exact moment. In another reality, she might be living a completely different life. For better or worse, this newfound perspective gave Sophia a deep sense of gratitude for her journey. She saw now that every experience, every challenge, and every triumph had shaped her into the person she was today. The road not taken wasn't lost. It existed in parallel, walked by another version of herself. As Sophia contemplated the vast tapestry of possibilities, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. Each choice she made was an opportunity to shape her reality, to steer her life in the direction she desired. The power to create her future lay in her hands, one small decision at a time. Yet, even as Sophia reveled in this newfound understanding, she couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. The constant communication attempts with her parallel self, the intense focus on quantum realities, it was all beginning to take its toll. As she prepared to face another day, Sophia couldn't help but wonder, at what cost was she pursuing this interdimensional connection? What if the price of interdimensional connection was more than just mental strain? Sophia's journey into the quantum realm was about to take an unexpected and alarming turn, one that would challenge her resolve and push her body to its limits. As Sophia delved deeper into her experiments and meditation practices, strange symptoms began to manifest. At first, it was just a persistent headache, a dull throb that seemed to pulse in time with her thoughts of parallel realities. But soon, fatigue crept in, weighing down her limbs and clouding her mind. The world around her began to feel less real. As if she were viewing it through a hazy veil, disorientation became Sophia's constant companion. She found herself losing track of time, sometimes coming to awareness hours after she had begun a meditation session, with no memory of the intervening period. Objects in her apartment seemed to shift position when she wasn't looking, leaving her questioning her own perception of reality. Concerned friends urged Sophia to seek medical help. Reluctantly, she agreed, submitting herself to a battery of tests and examinations. But the doctors were baffled. MRIs showed no abnormalities, blood work came back normal, and neurological exams revealed nothing out of the ordinary. From a medical standpoint, Sophia was the picture of health, yet the symptoms persisted, growing more intense with each passing day. Sophia couldn't help but wonder if her attempts to breach the barriers between realities were taking a physical toll. What if the human body wasn't meant to withstand the strain of interdimensional contact? Theories about the physical effects of such contact are scarce and largely speculative. Some researchers propose that exposure to alternate realities could disrupt the body's natural electromagnetic field, leading to a range of physical and psychological symptoms. Others suggest that the intense focus required for interdimensional communication might overstimulate certain areas of the brain, causing neurological imbalances. The mind-body connection, long recognized in fields like psychoneuroimmunology, offers another possible explanation for Sophia's symptoms. Could the stress and mental strain of her experiments be manifesting as physical ailments? Research has shown that prolonged periods of intense concentration and altered states of consciousness can indeed lead to headaches, fatigue, and disorientation. As Sophia grappled with these possibilities, a chilling question began to form in her mind. Was she putting herself in danger? The allure of unlocking the secrets of parallel realities was strong, but at what cost? She thought of stories she had read about early pioneers in various scientific fields, researchers who had sacrificed their health and sometimes their lives in pursuit of knowledge. The weight of this realization settled heavily on Sophia's shoulders. She knew she was treading in uncharted territory, pushing the boundaries of what was known and understood about the nature of reality itself. But was she prepared to risk everything, her health, her sanity, perhaps even her life, for this pursuit? After much soul-searching, Sophia made a difficult decision. She would take a break from her efforts, step back from the experiments and intensive meditation sessions that had consumed her life. It was time to reconnect with her own reality, to ground herself in the here and now. As Sophia began to disengage from her interdimensional pursuits, she felt a mix of relief and regret. Part of her worried that she was giving up too soon, that she was on the verge of a breakthrough. But another part, the part that valued self-preservation, knew this was the right choice. Little did Sophia know, her parallel self had other plans. As she prepared to return to a normal life, free from the strain of interdimensional communication, the universe was about to remind her that some connections, once forged, are not so easily broken. The universe, it seemed, had a cruel sense of irony. Just as Sophia resolved to step away from her interdimensional pursuits, a tidal wave of emotion crashed over her, leaving her gasping for breath. But these weren't her feelings. What if our emotions aren't entirely our own? It began with a sudden, inexplicable surge of joy. Sophia found herself grinning, her heart soaring with a sense of accomplishment she couldn't explain. Moments later, the elation gave way to a deep, aching sadness that brought tears to her eyes. As quickly as it came, the sorrow transformed into a burning anger, then a paralyzing fear. These emotions, so intense and disconnected from her current reality, could only belong to one source. Her parallel self. The realization was both beautiful and terrifying. Beautiful, because it confirmed the profound connection she shared with her alternate self, a bond that transcended the boundaries of space and time. Terrifying, because the intensity of these foreign emotions threatened to overwhelm her very sense of self. What if she lost herself in this sea of shared consciousness? Imagine for a moment that your emotions are not just the product of your own experiences, but a complex tapestry woven from the threads of countless parallel lives. This is the essence of emotional quantum entanglement, a theory that suggests our feelings might be as interconnected as the particles that make up our universe, just as subatomic particles can instantaneously affect each other across vast distances. Could our emotions be entangled with those of our parallel selves? The implications are staggering. Every joy, every sorrow, every moment of anger or fear could be a symphony played across multiple realities, each version of ourselves contributing to the emotional landscape of the others. That as Sophia rode this emotional roller coaster, she couldn't help but wonder, what monumental event was her parallel self experiencing? The intensity of the feelings suggested something life-changing. A great triumph? A devastating loss? A moment of profound revelation? The possibilities were endless, and Sophia found herself both eager and apprehensive to uncover the truth. Research on empathy and emotional contagion offers some insight into this phenomenon. Studies have shown that humans are capable of catching emotions from others, a process that occurs through subtle mimicry of facial expressions, body language, and even physiological responses. But what if this empathic ability extends beyond our immediate reality, allowing us to tune into the emotional frequencies of our parallel selves? As the storm of emotions began to subside, Sophia found herself with a newfound understanding of her alternate life's emotional landscape. She sensed a depth of passion and purpose that both inspired and challenged her. This other Sophia, it seemed, lived life with an intensity that both thrilled and terrified her. But with this deeper connection came a weighty responsibility. If she could feel her parallel self's emotions, could she also influence them? And if so, what were the ethical implications of such power? The boundaries between their realities seemed more porous than ever, and Sophia realized that her actions might have consequences far beyond her own world. As she sat in the quiet aftermath of this emotional storm, Sophia knew that her journey was far from over. The connection she shared with her parallel self was too profound, too important to ignore. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with the knowledge that she was not alone. Across the vastness of the multiverse, another version of herself was walking a similar path, their destinies intertwined in ways she was only beginning to understand. Imagine for a moment that you hold the key to altering the course of another life. Not just any life, but a parallel version of your own. This was the weighty dilemma Sophia now faced as she grappled with the knowledge she had gleaned from her interdimensional experiences. The information she possessed could potentially help her parallel self avoid pitfalls and seize opportunities. But should she interfere? The ethical implications of such interference loomed large, challenging the very foundations of free will and personal autonomy. What if, in trying to help, she inadvertently caused harm? The butterfly effect of her actions could ripple across realities in ways she couldn't possibly foresee. Sophia found herself at a crossroads, the path forward shrouded in moral ambiguity. But as she pondered this quandary, Sophia's mind wandered to the philosophical arguments surrounding similar dilemmas. The trolley problem, a classic thought experiment in ethics, seemed particularly relevant. If you could save 5 lives by diverting a runaway trolley to kill one person instead, would you do it? Now, amplify that dilemma across multiple realities, and you begin to grasp the complexity of Sophia's situation. What if I told you that the very fabric of reality might be at stake? Some philosophers argue that the integrity of parallel universes depends on their separation. To interfere, even with the best intentions, could unravel the delicate tapestry of existence itself. Others contend that if we have the power to alleviate suffering across realities, we have a moral obligation to do so. The truth is, the consequences of interdimensional meddling are far from clear. Sophia recalled reading about the grandfather paradox, a mind-bending concept from time travel theory. If you went back in time and prevented your grandfather from meeting your grandmother, would you cease to exist? Apply this to parallel realities, and the potential for unintended consequences becomes staggeringly complex. As Sophia wrestled with these philosophical quandaries, she couldn't help but feel the weight of responsibility pressing down upon her. The knowledge she possessed was both a gift and a burden. To act or not to act. Both choices carried profound implications. In the end, Sophia made a decision that walked the fine line between action and restraint. She chose to send a subtle message to her parallel self, a whisper across the cosmic void that respected the boundaries of free will. This wasn't a direct intervention, but rather a gentle nudge, a cosmic hint that might inspire her other self to look at things from a different perspective. The method of delivery for this message was as ethereal as the message itself. Sophia focused her intentions during her next meditation session, visualizing her thoughts traversing the quantum realm to reach her parallel self. She imagined her message as a feather floating on the wind of consciousness, light enough not to disrupt the natural flow of events, yet significant enough to potentially spark a change. But as Sophia opened her eyes, a sense of completion washed over her. She had made her choice, for better or worse. But this was far from the end of her journey. The consequences of her decision, however subtle, would ripple out across realities in ways she couldn't begin to imagine. What new challenges would arise from this interdimensional communication? How might her parallel self respond? And what unforeseen effects might her actions have on the delicate balance of the multiverse? As Sophia contemplated these questions, she knew that her exploration of the boundaries between realities was only just beginning. The universe, it seemed, had much more in store for her. What if the very fabric of reality could be used as a cosmic telephone line? Sophia was about to find out. As she settled into her meditation posture, her mind focused on a single purpose: to send a message across the quantum void to her parallel self. The room was silent, save for the gentle rhythm of Sophia's breath. She closed her eyes, visualizing her consciousness expanding beyond the confines of her physical form. In this state of heightened awareness, she reached out with her thoughts, imagining them as tendrils of energy stretching across the boundaries of reality. But how could she be certain her message would reach its intended recipient? The quantum realm is notoriously unpredictable, governed by laws that seem to defy our classical understanding of the universe. Theories of quantum communication suggest that information can be transmitted instantaneously across vast distances, a phenomenon Einstein famously referred to as spooky action at a distance. As Sophia focused her intention, she recalled the double-slit experiment, a cornerstone of quantum mechanics. This experiment demonstrates that the mere act of observation can influence the behavior of particles at a fundamental level. What if her conscious intention could similarly influence the quantum field, creating a ripple that would reach her parallel self? The air around Sophia seemed to thicken with possibility. She imagined her message as a series of quantum fluctuations, tiny disturbances in the fabric of reality that could potentially bridge the gap between dimensions. But would these subtle shifts be enough to carry her thoughts across the vastness of the multiverse? As minutes stretched into hours, Sophia remained steadfast in her focus. She pictured her parallel self receiving the message, a sudden flash of insight or an inexplicable feeling of connection. Yet there was no way to know if her efforts were successful. The quantum realm, for all its potential, remains stubbornly opaque to our everyday perceptions. Despite the uncertainty, Sophia felt a growing sense of accomplishment. The act of reaching out, of attempting to bridge the gap between realities, was transformative in itself. She had pushed the boundaries of what she thought possible, venturing into uncharted territories of consciousness and quantum mechanics. As Sophia slowly returned to her normal state of awareness, she was filled with a profound sense of completion. Whether or not her message had been received, she had taken a bold step into the unknown. She had acted on her understanding of the interconnectedness of all realities, embracing the possibility of communication across dimensions. But the universe has a way of responding to our deepest intentions in unexpected ways. As Sophia opened her eyes, readjusting to the familiar contours of her room, she couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted. The air seemed charged with a new energy, as if the very atoms around her were vibrating at a different frequency. What unforeseen consequences might her quantum message have set in motion? How might this ripple in the fabric of reality manifest in her world, or in the world of her parallel self? Sophia stood up, stretching her limbs after the long meditation session, knowing that her journey into the quantum unknown was far from over. The universe, it seemed, was just beginning to reveal its deeper mysteries. As Sophia's eyes adjusted to the dim light of her room, something felt off. The familiar contours of her space seemed slightly askew, as if reality itself had shifted during her meditation. Was this just her imagination, or had her quantum message actually altered the fabric of her world? Sophia blinked, trying to shake off the disorientation. The painting on her wall, a vibrant landscape she'd cherished for years, now seemed muted, its colors less vivid than she remembered. Her bookshelf, always meticulously organized, appeared subtly different, as if someone had rearranged the volumes while she wasn't looking. What if I told you that reality isn't as stable as we believe? That our world is in constant flux, shifting and changing in ways we can barely perceive? This is the unsettling truth Sophia now faced as she moved through her apartment, cataloging the small but significant changes that seemed to have occurred during her meditation session. The concept of reality shifts and timeline jumps has long fascinated both scientists and spiritualists alike. Some theorize that our consciousness can sometimes jump between parallel timelines, resulting in subtle changes to our surrounding environment. Others propose that the very fabric of reality is more fluid than we realize, constantly reshaping itself in response to our thoughts and intentions. Sophia recalled stories she'd read online of people experiencing what they called glitches in the matrix, unexplainable occurrences that seemed to defy the laws of reality. A woman who swore her childhood home had suddenly changed color overnight. A man who found himself in a familiar city, only to discover streets and buildings that had never existed before. Were these merely tricks of memory or evidence of something more profound? As she pondered these possibilities, Sophia noticed more discrepancies. The mug she'd left on her desk was now a different color. The pattern on her curtains seemed to have shifted ever so slightly. Each discovery sent a shiver down her spine, a mix of excitement and fear coursing through her veins. What larger changes might be coming? If these small shifts were just the beginning, what other alterations to her reality might she expect? The possibilities were both thrilling and terrifying. Would she wake up one day to find her entire life transformed? Or would the changes remain subtle, a constant reminder of the fluid nature of existence? As Sophia grappled with these questions, a profound realization began to dawn on her. These reality shifts weren't just isolated incidents or random glitches. They were evidence of the deep, fundamental interconnectedness of all realities. Her quantum message hadn't just reached her parallel self. It had rippled across the very fabric of existence, causing subtle shifts and realignments throughout the multiverse. This understanding filled Sophia with a sense of awe and responsibility. Her actions, her thoughts, her very being were intimately connected to countless other realities. Every choice she made, every intention she set, had the power to shape not just her own world, but countless others. As she stood in her subtly altered apartment, Sophia felt as if she were standing on the edge of a vast, cosmic web, each thread connecting her to infinite versions of herself and infinite possible realities. The magnitude of this realization was almost overwhelming, but it also filled her with a deep sense of purpose. Little did Sophia know, this newfound understanding was just the prelude to an even greater revelation. As she continued to explore the subtle changes in her environment, she had no idea that the universe was preparing to unveil its most profound secret yet. The true nature of reality, and her place within it, was about to be revealed in a way that would forever change her perception of existence itself. Imagine for a moment that the decision you're grappling with isn't just about your future, but about the fate of multiple realities. This wasn't a hypothetical scenario for Sophia anymore. It was her reality. As she stood at the crossroads of her own life, the veil between dimensions thinned, revealing the path her parallel self had chosen. The decision that had been weighing on Sophia's mind was whether to pursue her passion for quantum physics or take a more conventional route in her career. It was a choice that had kept her awake at night, tossing and turning as she weighed the pros and cons. But now, she was about to gain insight that would forever change her perspective. In a moment of profound clarity, Sophia saw the diverging paths of her two selves unfold before her. Her parallel self had taken the leap, diving headfirst into the world of quantum research. The journey hadn't been easy. There were late nights in the lab, funding struggles, and moments of doubt. But there was also exhilaration, breakthrough discoveries, and a sense of purpose that radiated through every fiber of her being. Meanwhile, in this reality, Sophia had yet to make her choice. She stood at the precipice, peering into two possible futures. The conventional path promised stability, a comfortable salary, and societal approval. But it also held the specter of unfulfilled potential, of always wondering, what if? What if I told you that our decisions create ripples across the multiverse, shaping not just our own reality, but countless others? This was the profound truth Sophia now faced. She saw how her parallel self's choice had not only transformed her own life, but had led to advancements that pushed the boundaries of human understanding. The implications were staggering. Counterfactual thinking, the human tendency to create possible alternatives to life events that have already occurred, took on new meaning for Sophia. This wasn't just speculation about what could have been, it was a glimpse into what actually was in another reality. The weight of this knowledge settled heavily on her shoulders. As Sophia compared the two paths, she realized that the true difference wasn't in the external outcomes, but in the internal transformation. Her parallel self radiated a confidence and sense of purpose that Sophia had always yearned for. The challenges and setbacks hadn't broken her. They had forged her into a stronger, more resilient version of herself. The truth is, every decision we make carries the potential to alter the course of our lives in ways we can't possibly foresee. For Sophia, seeing the results of her parallel self's choice brought this concept into sharp focus. It wasn't just about the career path. It was about embracing her true self, about having the courage to pursue her passion despite the uncertainties. As the vision faded and Sophia found herself back in her familiar reality, she was filled with a newfound clarity. The insight she had gained transcended the specifics of her career choice. It was a profound understanding of her own potential, of the power she held to shape her reality through her choices. But this knowledge came with great responsibility. Sophia now understood that her decisions had far-reaching consequences, not just for herself, but for the very fabric of the multiverse. As she prepared to make her choice, she knew that whatever path she chose would be walked with purpose, integrity, and a deep appreciation for the interconnectedness of all realities. As Sophia stood at the threshold of her decision, a strange sensation washed over her. It wasn't just knowledge from her parallel self flooding in. It was as if two versions of herself were merging into one. What happens when the boundaries between realities begin to blur? Sophia closed her eyes, breathing deeply as she felt a profound sense of wholeness envelop her. It was as if pieces of a cosmic puzzle were finally falling into place, revealing a picture of herself that was both familiar and startlingly new. The wisdom and experiences of her parallel self began to intertwine with her own, creating a tapestry of consciousness that spanned multiple realities. But this integration wasn't without its challenges. Sophia found herself grappling with two sets of memories, two lifetimes of experiences vying for dominance in her mind. How could she reconcile the choices she had made with the paths her parallel self had taken? The process was disorienting, like trying to walk with one foot in two different worlds. What if I told you that our consciousness is capable of existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously? This concept of higher dimensional consciousness suggests that our awareness can transcend the limitations of our current reality, allowing for the merging of identities across parallel universes. As Sophia navigated this inner landscape, she began to understand the profound implications of this theory. The process of integrating these different aspects of self is rooted in psychological theories of self-actualization. Just as individuals strive to realize their full potential by unifying various parts of their identity, Sophia was now undertaking this journey on a cosmic scale. She was becoming more than just herself. She was becoming all possible versions of herself. As the integration deepened, Sophia began to experience moments of startling clarity. Insights from her parallel self's quantum research merged with her own intuitive understanding, creating flashes of brilliance that felt like glimpses into the very fabric of reality. These moments were fleeting at first, like trying to hold on to a dream upon waking. But with each passing day, they became more frequent and more profound. What new abilities might this integration unlock? The possibilities seemed endless. Sophia found herself able to approach problems from angles she had never considered before, drawing on the combined knowledge and experiences of multiple lifetimes. Her intuition sharpened, allowing her to sense patterns and connections that had previously been invisible to her. But perhaps the most profound change was in Sophia's sense of self. As she embraced this integrated identity, she felt a deep sense of purpose and alignment. The doubts and insecurities that had once plagued her began to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence that seemed to radiate from her very being. She was no longer just Sophia. She was Sophia multiplied, a living embodiment of infinite potential. As this new level of self-understanding settled over her, Sophia realized that her journey was far from over. The integration of her parallel self was just the beginning. What other aspects of herself might be waiting to be discovered across the vast expanse of the multiverse? And how might this newfound understanding change her relationship with the world around her? The universe, it seemed, had much more in store for Sophia. As she stood on the precipice of this new chapter in her life, she felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. The path ahead was uncharted, but she was no longer walking it alone. With the wisdom of multiple selves guiding her, Sophia was ready to embrace whatever challenges and wonders the cosmos had in store for her. Imagine for a moment that your newfound wisdom could ripple outward, touching the lives of everyone around you. This wasn't just a hypothetical scenario for Sophia anymore. It was her reality. As she navigated her daily life with her newly integrated self, those closest to her couldn't help but notice the profound change. That Sophia's friends and family were the first to sense the shift. Her words carried a weight they hadn't before, filled with insights that seemed to transcend ordinary understanding. When she spoke about the interconnectedness of all things, her eyes sparkled with a knowing that both intrigued and unsettled those around her. Some were drawn to her like moths to a flame, eager to bask in the glow of her transformed perspective. Others recoiled, uncomfortable with the implications of her newfound knowledge. What if I told you that one person's transformation could set off a chain reaction, altering the very fabric of their community? This is the essence of social contagion, a phenomenon where behaviors, attitudes, and ideas spread through a population like a virus. Sophia's evolution wasn't just changing her. It was beginning to reshape the world around her. Her closest friend, Sarah, was the first to truly embrace the change. Late-night conversations that once revolved around everyday concerns now expanded to encompass the nature of reality itself. Sarah found herself questioning long-held beliefs, inspired by Sophia's courage to explore the unknown. At work, Sophia's colleagues noticed her approaching problems with a unique perspective, finding solutions that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once, but not everyone welcomed this ripple effect. Sophia's parents watched with growing concern as their daughter spoke of parallel realities and quantum consciousness. They worried she was losing touch with the practical world, drifting into realms of thought they couldn't follow or understand. Her brother, once her closest confidant, now regarded her with a mixture of awe and unease. Unsure how to bridge the gap that seemed to be widening between them, the truth is, individual transformation rarely occurs in isolation. As Sophia's influence spread, she became a living experiment in the power of ideas to shape reality. Each interaction, each shared thought, was like a pebble dropped in a still pond, sending ripples of change outward in ways she couldn't fully predict or control. How far would these ripples spread? As weeks turned to months, Sophia began to notice subtle shifts in her wider circle. Conversations at social gatherings took on a deeper, more introspective tone. Friends of friends reached out, drawn by whispers of her insights. Even strangers seemed to react to her differently, as if sensing the profound change she carried within with each passing day. Sophia felt the weight of her knowledge more keenly. She realized that her understanding of multiple realities came with a profound responsibility. Every word, every action had the potential to alter someone's path, to open doors to new possibilities, or to close them. The power to influence others was both exhilarating and terrifying. As Sophia grappled with the implications of her influence, she couldn't help but wonder, what unseen effects might her transformation have on the world at large? The ripples of her change were extending far beyond her personal circle, touching lives she might never meet, altering destinies in ways she could scarcely imagine. The universe, it seemed, had set in motion a grand experiment, and Sophia was at its very center. Just as Sophia thought she had grasped the full scope of her interdimensional journey, the universe decided to pull back the curtain even further. In a moment of profound clarity, she glimpsed the vast web of interconnected realities that made up the multiverse. It was as if she had suddenly gained the ability to see in infinite dimensions, each thread of reality shimmering with possibilities. The scale and complexity of this cosmic tapestry were almost overwhelming. Sophia felt like a single drop of water, suddenly aware of the entire ocean. Infinite versions of herself, of everyone she knew, of every possible choice and outcome stretched out before her. Each reality was a universe unto itself, yet intricately connected to all others in ways that defied conventional understanding. As she tried to comprehend this infinite expanse, Sophia felt her sense of self beginning to dissolve. Who was she in the face of such vastness? How could she maintain her individual identity when she was simultaneously every version of herself that had ever existed or could exist? The boundaries of her consciousness seemed to blur, merging with the cosmic whole. What if I told you that reality is far more fluid and interconnected than we ever imagined? This isn't just a fanciful notion, but a concept rooted in cutting-edge theories of physics. The holographic principle suggests that our three-dimensional reality might be a projection of information stored on a two-dimensional surface, much like a hologram. This implies a fundamental interconnectedness that transcends our perception of separate objects and individuals. As Sophia grappled with these mind-bending concepts, she found herself exploring the very nature of consciousness itself. Was consciousness a fundamental property of the universe, as some philosophers propose? Or was it an emergent phenomenon, arising from the complex interactions of simpler components? The lines between observer and observed, between self and other, seem to blur and shift. Quantum field theory offers another perspective on the interconnected nature of reality. It suggests that the universe is made up not of discrete particles, but of vibrating fields that permeate all of space and time. In this view, what we perceive as separate objects are actually excitations in these underlying fields, all intimately connected at the most fundamental level. As Sophia's awareness expanded, she began to sense the rhythms and harmonies of these cosmic fields. The universe seemed to pulse with a living energy, each vibration echoing across countless realities. She realized that every thought, every action, every choice sent ripples through this vast network, influencing countless other realities in ways beyond imagination. What ultimate truth might lie at the heart of this cosmic dance? As Sophia peered deeper into the fabric of reality, she felt herself approaching a revelation of profound significance. The anticipation built within her, a sense that she was on the verge of understanding something fundamental about the nature of existence itself. In that moment of ultimate expansion, Sophia found an unexpected resolution. She realized that unity and individuality were not opposites, but complementary aspects of a greater whole. Just as a symphony is made up of individual notes played in harmony, the multiverse thrived on the interplay of infinite individual experiences. Her unique perspective, her choices, her very being were vital threads in the cosmic tapestry. With this understanding came a deep sense of peace. Sophia no longer felt overwhelmed by the vastness of reality, but embraced her place within it. She was both the drop and the ocean, intimately connected to all that exists, yet uniquely herself. As Sophia returned to her everyday awareness, she faced a new challenge. How could she possibly convey this profound understanding to others? The experience seemed beyond the capacity of words to express. Yet she knew that this knowledge had the potential to transform not just her life, but the lives of everyone around her. The journey to share this cosmic perspective was only just beginning. Have you ever felt a presence at the edge of your consciousness, a whisper from another version of yourself? For Sophia, this ethereal connection had become a tangible reality. As she navigated the complexities of her newfound interdimensional awareness, she discovered that her link with her parallel self wasn't severed by her return to everyday life. Instead, it had evolved into something more subtle, yet profoundly powerful. Imagine for a moment that you're not just living your own life, but acting as a guardian for an alternate version of yourself. This was the unspoken agreement Sophia and her parallel self had forged. They became sentinels of each other's realities, offering silent support and guidance across the quantum divide. But what if I told you that maintaining this delicate balance required constant vigilance? Sophia found herself walking a tightrope between two worlds, her attention split between her own reality and the faint echoes of her parallel life. Every decision, every moment of introspection now carried the weight of two existences. The challenge was not just in managing her own life, but in being attuned to the subtle ripples of change emanating from her other self. This ongoing connection raises fascinating questions about the nature of quantum entanglement. In the realm of quantum physics, particles that become entangled remain connected regardless of the distance between them. What if consciousness operates on similar principles? Sophia's experience suggests that once a connection is forged between parallel selves, it persists, defying conventional understanding of space and time. The truth is, long-distance empathic connections have been reported throughout human history. From twins who can sense each other's emotions across vast distances to modern accounts of telepathic experiences, there's a wealth of anecdotal evidence suggesting that consciousness can transcend physical boundaries. Sophia's interdimensional link takes this concept to a whole new level, pushing the boundaries of what we thought possible. As Sophia embraced this unique partnership, she couldn't help but wonder about the future challenges they might face together. What if a crisis in one reality required intervention from the other? How would they navigate the ethical implications of influencing each other's lives? The possibilities were as exciting as they were daunting, yet in this cosmic dance of parallel selves, Sophia found an unexpected source of strength. Knowing that another version of herself was out there, facing her own challenges and triumphs, provided a sense of companionship that transcended ordinary understanding. It was as if she had gained a cosmic confidant, a mirror that reflected not just her present self, but all the potential versions of who she could become. This ongoing connection transformed Sophia's understanding of self and reality in ways she never imagined. The boundaries between me and not me blurred, revealing a more fluid and interconnected concept of identity. She realized that she was not just Sophia of this reality, but a nexus of infinite Sophias, each contributing to a greater whole. As she embraced this expanded sense of self, Sophia knew that her journey was far from over. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, had opened a door to a new way of being. And as she stepped through that door, hand in hand with her parallel self, she felt ready to face whatever wonders and challenges the cosmos had in store. Imagine for a moment that you hold in your hands the threads of infinite possibilities. This is the profound truth Sophia uncovered on her extraordinary journey. Each choice we make, each path we walk, creates ripples across the vast tapestry of existence. But these aren't just abstract concepts. They're the very essence of our reality. What if I told you that your everyday decisions are shaping not just your life, but countless parallel worlds? This isn't science fiction, but the awe-inspiring nature of our interconnected universe. Sophia's revelation shows us that every reality, every version of ourselves, is uniquely valuable. Each contributes to the grand cosmic dance in ways we can scarcely comprehend. That yes, we stand at the crossroads of our own lives. Let's consider the infinite potential within our choices. The power to shape reality comes with great responsibility. How will you use this knowledge? What worlds will you create with your actions and intentions? The truth is, we're all cosmic architects, building realities with every breath and thought. The question is, what kind of universe will you choose to construct?